Welcome back, hosers, to another video here. Now the question is this. Well, actually, before the question, the biggest news right now is obviously the Maduro capture, and probably even bigger news is the Venezuela being taken over by the U.S. right now for the foreseeable future to get them back on their feet. Now, no one's going to shed a tear whatsoever for Maduro. That guy is a horrible, horrible human being that deserves to rot in prison, in my point of view. Now, the question here is this, though. The question is, why does Venezuela's fate send a warning to Canada? Are the Liberals basically too weak for potential Trump threats? This is my hoser take, no spin, just facts, with a conservative edge. Now, the Globe and Mail editorial says Maduro's capture proves Trump's empire push is real. All right? That's what they're saying. And Canada could be next if we stay weak. Now, Carney's Liberals just mumble about international law with no apparent plan. Poilievre and the Conservatives, though, they are ready to stand strong. Liberals look ready to surrender. Let's hoser this all up, all right? We've got a lot to compact here. Now, here's the deal. This comes straight from the Globe and Mail editorial. Maduro is captured after a U.S. strike, and no one should be shedding any tears over that. That's an incredible operation, and we all should be pleasantly happy that that incredibly bad individual is now going to be held accountable and probably going to rot the rest of his life in jail, which is a good thing. Now, Trump says the U.S. will now run Venezuela for now, and he will bring in the big oil corporations from the U.S. to fix it for its citizens. I think that got a big story, too. No one was expecting the U.S. to run Venezuela for the next little while. But you know what? U.S. interests in our sphere of influence, right? That's important for U.S. influence. Now, the Globe and Mail calls this pure empire building and plunder. Okay. Oh, man. No real democracy push here. The Globe and Mail warns that Trump could target Canada next with economic coercion or even worse, because Trump and America only respect power. Okay? Now, that's what the Globe and Mail is thinking. Mark Carney says we should respect international law, but offers, you guessed it, no real action. The Globe and Mail says we need pipelines fast now. Basically, the Globe and Mail, the editorial says they want shovels in the ground now for pipelines, and they want a stronger military now for Arctic sovereignty. So, yeah, I think the Globe and Mail article, they're kind of running scared at the moment, right? And you know, why not? Now, here's the real hoser take. Liberals, yeah, they've shown for the last decade that they are too weak. They really are too weak here. You know, they hide behind nice words, while Trump threats put our sovereignty at risk. Now, Mark Carney's government has no backbone. They've shown that by giving in to Trump and the Americans on this whole trade stuff. Now, they're leaving Canada exposed. Now, Poilievre and the Conservatives, they're ready for real defense. They've been talking about this for years. The Conservatives want to accelerate pipelines. They want shovels in the ground now so we can sell energy worldwide without U.S. control. Conservatives want to ramp up military spending to protect Arctic sovereignty. It's not just the U.S. We've got Russian and Chinese infringing on our Arctic borders. We can't have that. And the Conservatives want to negotiate tough trade deals to safeguard jobs and borders. Now, that would be true independence, a strong economy, and national pride. Liberals, liberals are like a guy who sees the bully coming, but asks for a polite conversation. Poilievre, he's the one ready to stand firm with the backbone, right? Now, you looked at my whiteboard here. I wrote up there Venezuela warning, okay? This comes from the Globe and Mail editorial article. Now, this is all about Maduro's capture, right? As well as about how the U.S., for the foreseeable future, will be taking over Venezuela to get it back on its feet. But also we know that the Americans do want to have control over that oil. You know, heck, it's in their sphere of influence. They're not going to want some guy to take over Maduro's job that's going to be just like Maduro. So we'll have to wait and see, but I think this whole thing is going to take a while. And also this is about a risk to Canada's sovereignty if we stay weak. We can't stay weak, and we are weak. So here's the Real Hoser view on that. Liberals, they surrender to threats, leaving the Arctic and our trade vulnerable. Now, Poilievre and the Conservatives, they focus on strength. They want pipelines for energy freedom, military buildup for defense. They want mines in the ground for our rare earth minerals to sell abroad. And they want tough deals for economic security. So in conclusion, Venezuela's fate is a clear warning for Canada. It's an interesting thought activity. I don't think something like this is actually going to happen to Canada. But hey, a lot of people out there are going to think it will. Liberals are too weak for Trump threats. We need Poilievre and the Conservatives' real strength. Pipelines for independence, mines for independence, military for protection, and tough trade for jobs, period. So, do I actually think that the Venezuela warning that the Globe and Mail is talking about, that it's going to happen to Canada? No, I don't think that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there don't think that. But there's going to be more than enough people out there that are going to think that the Americans are going to come in and take over Canada. So, I don't think that's going to happen. But just be aware, there's probably going to be a lot of stuff out there on that. Anyways, that's my briefing for today. Thanks for being here.